Hello everyone! So we are here to record a new episode of the Stable School, and today we have a rock star, DeFi Dave, a KOL of DeFi, and recently very into stablecoins. Actually, not recently. You have always been.
Always and forever. Thank you so much for having me, Maria. Thank you to the Stable School, Stable Summit. We love the Summit of Stability.
Yeah, we love Stable Summit.
Stable Summit.
Stable School, stable coins.
Stable coins.
No, but I wanted to the first question that I want to ask you is to introduce yourself, because you need to think that Stable School is something for people to learn.
Yes.
So maybe they don't know you. Yeah, let's introduce yourself.
Of course. So my name's DeFi Dave. I am the head of growth at CAP. I've been in crypto for 8 years and DeFi for 5 years. I've always been a writer and producing content as well, along with my main jobs of doing business development, partnerships, and marketing. I originally got the kind of the flicker of light. The flicker of light, the light bulb of DeFi during DeFi summer. Because I remember at my first job, I was in charge of getting our token list on exchanges. It was such a nightmare to get listed. It was what is going on? This sucks. And then once I saw Uniswap and how you can just permissionlessly add liquidity, I'm oh my God, now I get the power of decentralized finance. And then from there, I just was in a rabbit hole, just going down, writing threads. And then I found stablecoins. And I even remember stablecoins back in 2018 because at my first job, the people that worked there were into stablecoins too, and they went on to start Frax. And so I've always been around stablecoins, and so that's always been a passion of mine. Since then, I've worked at Gelato. I've written for the Defiant. I also worked at Frax and was involved in their community for a bit. I've done BD. I ran the Flywheel podcast for a while too. So for 2.5 years, every week we had on a different builder, different commentator, asking them hard-hitting, deep DeFi questions. That was my bear market hobby. And most recently was at Dinero Redacted, leading BD there. And now I'm telling stories at CAP.
That's amazing. Thanks for the intro. Since you have mentioned it, and maybe again, not everyone knows when and what we intend when we say DeFi summer. So because we know.
Yeah,
but
that's actually a great point. So DeFi summer was this inflection point where before there was very little on-chain activity. Yeah. Before it was just a dream being sold. It was just white papers of a world what could be. And DeFi summer was the first time that there was just this Cambrian explosion of on-chain activity. And what I mean by this is all these new different experimental protocols came out with different games, yield farming games. And so, you had Compound and Synthetics with their yield farming programs. It's you basically do this action and then you get this token. It was quite primitive. And there were things like Yearn and Yam and Sushi, food coins and everything. And there was just something really magical about it. And I think what made it magical is oh wow, this shit is real. Oh wow, we can just trade, I'm trading directly from my wallet. I'm not going to some centralized exchange. I'm actually using these products. I'm saving, I'm doing this and that. And there was definitely a certain optimism at that time.
Yeah.
And without DeFi summer, nothing else would have happened. There would be no NFTs. There would be no
meme coins.
Meme coins. No, seriously, there would be no meme coins without DeFi summer. Yeah. And now, so much stuff happens on chain.
Yeah. Would you say that we are again in another DeFi summer, or
I don't think DeFi summer will ever happen again. Because it's that was just such a magical time in the beginning. There's kind of this naivete that everybody had. And it was everyone's first time experiencing this thing together. And at the time, everything was just on Ethereum. And so everyone,
that's true.
Now everything's just so
in the 2000 layer 2s.
Yeah, there's thousands, so many different layer 2s, layer 1s, communities. Everything's so much more tribalized and segmented. And so it's really hard to get that again. But I still think magic is possible. I think like the magic will just happen in different forms.
Exactly, and in my opinion, one of these forms is definitely the role of stable coins, because
Yes.
if you think back in time, in the beginning of DeFi summer, there was just Tether, DAI, and the only one decentralized was DAI, and then USDC. Now we have a lot, including Cap.
Yes.
But I wanted to if you can teach the audience or give your point of view of how did you see this evolution of stable.
Great question. So the evolution of stablecoins, I think you can see this line from experimental towards the Bitcoin dream of being decentralized, completely sovereign, to now you have a lot more practical and grounded in the real world, no pun intended. Before, there was this dream of let's create 100% decentralized stablecoin that isn't backed by anything off chain. It's going to be fully backed by sovereign assets like Ethereum, this and that, which is definitely something novel to go for. I mean, I bought into that too. And we ran these experiments, but it turns out it's very hard to stay pegged when you only have one asset.
Yeah.
And also we had all these other experiments with the algo stables. I remember after DeFi summer, there was this algo stable winter where you had ESD, DSD, and that was DeFi summer on crack, because everyone's we're gonna create a new money, and it was these under collateralized stable coins, and they were just run up for a bit, but then they were just completely deflate and collapse over and over again. And I feel DeFi summer and during an algo stable season, it was we were all just beta, and we were all just in the testing grounds, and if we got blown up, oh well, that was for the sake of the experiment. But then we wised up and it was okay, how do you make an actual stable coin? It's okay, you need to have it backed by something USD. And so then you had all these different treasury stable coins come out. And there's a reason why Tether and USDC have grown to the size that they have, because they're mostly backed by treasuries, and they have a little bit of a cash buffer.
Yeah.
So you need to make a proper stablecoin, you need to be tied to something in the real world.
Yeah.
And yes, decentralized options still exist. Liquidity is a great product.
Yeah.
But it just can't simply scale.
Yeah. Why?
Because it's only tied to ETH. And
So
there's only so much ETH. Unless ETH goes to
I want to challenge you.
30 trillion, there's only so much ETH in the world.
Yeah, that's true.
So
yeah, you're right. I agree. I mean, I'm a proudly former maker person that
I'm sorry. Yeah.
I'm yeah.
And so we can't talk about the history of stablecoins without talking about Terra Luna, because Terra Luna it took the industry by storm and ended up being a top 10 chain with a stablecoin attached, and it was about to take over the entire industry, but then it just collapsed. It was never
collapsed. And also with Terra Luna, I think the fate in algorithmic stablecoin a bit collapsed.
Yeah, all the dream of the under collateralized stablecoin collapsed, and everybody was okay, we have to be fully collateralized, and that was a real turning point. And then it made everyone think exactly like you said, it was real. It was like I said, it was a real turning point. And then you saw you still saw different stablecoin experiments come out. You saw Athena, which was with the basis trade and all that, and that worked and that scaled, and they killed their launch. They killed, and they're still around leading the pack.
I still believe in it.
Yeah.
But I agree your point of view.
Yeah, my view is if you want truly sovereign money, buy Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Yeah, that's true.
But if you want if you hold stable coins, you're inherently agreeing to the dollar world order.
Yeah.
And
I agree a lot, because I'm thinking about myself, and that's exactly.
We live in an ocean of dollars. I look at that laptop right there, it costs whatever, 1,000, whatever.
Yeah.
This might cost 100.
But I ask you another question, and then I think we could actually no. Let's touch base on because also Cap is kind of not an experiment, but you wanted to create something different. Let's talk about that and
So what's unique about Cap and the Cap's team is we're all veterans in DeFi. I come from Frax, Dinero. Ben, he's was the founder of Cheetah. We have like all the beefy devs. So I like to call ourselves like the DeFi Avengers. And so we've seen it all. We've seen all like the bridge hacks. We've seen depegs. We've seen it all. And we've really been through the ringer. And when we created Cap, we're like, how can we make a safer stablecoin? I think that's become, we went from being about being experimental to being about how can we like prioritize safety above all else. Then we can worry about the yield and everything. And it turns out restaking is great for protecting stablecoins, and restaking is great for earning additional yield. And so to talk about, so with Cap, we've been around for almost a year now. I joined in January to lead growth and tell the story of Cap. And so what is Cap? In one sentence, Cap uses restaking as a primitive to secure yield and protect backing. Now, if you're watching this, you might not know what restaking is.
Yeah, exactly. Let's explain. As I always tell to my dad or my mom, you know.
Yeah. Oh, I know. So restaking is this concept: is you take capital that's being used somewhere for another purpose and tacking it along for a new purpose on top of it. And so for restaking, the example is with Ethereum. Ethereum is used in proof of stake. It's used to secure the Ethereum blockchain. So that ETH is already being staked. There's still ETH there that isn't being utilized at all. And in theory, instead of just, why can't, the idea of it is if it can be used to secure the blockchain, the state of the blockchain, why can't it be used to secure anything? And so people thought of like all these different use cases like, oh, maybe oracles, oh, maybe rollups or another chain, this and that. Well, it turns out you can use restaking to secure yield, and that's probably the best PMF right now.
Yeah.
And so it's basically putting up something as like a guarantee or a bond. Yeah.
How do you, like, what's your plan to scale? Because another thing that I notice about stable coins is that it's not easy.
It's not easy to scale.
Yeah, to scale. For example, in Denver, I had an interview with Bold. And like Liquidity, and who recently introduced this Bold stablecoin, and I don't know like if now they are going well or not, but I've never heard Bold from them, you know. So it's a bit of a challenge right now with all of this.
Yeah, for sure.
So what's the plan?
So with Cap, we have two products in the Cap protocol. You have CUSD, which is the digital dollar, and then you have STCUSD, which is staked Cap. And think of that as like interest-bearing Cap. Think of it as like your bank account. Yeah. So CUSD, the collateral backing CUSD is basically Genius Act compliant stablecoins. So think like USDC, like Benji, BIDL. And so all these stablecoins are backing Cap with CUSD. And the more of those that are in circulation, the more Cap can grow. And so Cap is actually an amalgamation of all those stablecoins. And what's really cool about Cap is because of it's a permissionless system. Any of those stablecoins can be minted or redeemed at any time, 24/7. So think of it as like a 24/7 window.
Wow.
Yeah, you can like mint your stablecoin with Benji and then redeem it with BIDL.
That's cool.
Yeah, and so that's like the digital dollar, product. And then you have staked CUSD. And that's where the restaking comes in. That's where the fun begins. And so how the Cap system works is you have this three-pronged marketplace. And I love the number 3 because 3 has always symbolized stability. Yeah. Like look at this tripod right there. It's the tripod. It's in 3s. Look at religion. There's a holy trinity. Yeah. There's 3 is like found throughout the universe.
It's the magic number.
It's the magic number, exactly. And so you have this three-pronged marketplace of users that mint the stablecoin, and as I explained, they mint it with like USDC, Benji. You have operators; they're the ones getting the yield, so we outsource it to them. And then we have restakers, who are the ones covering the whole system and protecting the users, which is what we care about most. Yeah. And so, in how stablecoins have worked in the past is it's usually like a team internally decides, oh, we're going to do this strategy. Yeah. Or like, oh, which is going to be a T-bill. So it's like one team, one strategy. We call that a type 1 stablecoin. But the problem of that is it can't scale. It can only scale as much as the strategy permits it to. Yeah. There's always an upper ceiling. Then you have type 2 stablecoins where it's like a team with diverse strategy, like a committee with diverse strategies. But the problem with that is it's like the committee's like people are infallible. Like people have conflict of interest. Maybe something doesn't go well. And so it's just a little bit rougher. Type 3 is you just rely on the power of markets. And so how the cap system works is you have operators who partner with restakers. The operators are like, hey, this is like our strategy. The restakers will do their due diligence. So the restakers are basically doing the work that just the users just don't have time to do. They're the ones like doing the DD and all that. And if they feel comfortable and they're like, okay, like let's do this, they'll delegate their restaked capital to the operator. And that is basically another word for collateral. It allows the operator to use that delegation as collateral to access the cap protocol. And so once they have that delegation, they can go to cap and actually go and take out a loan, an allocation of capital in whatever's backing CUSD. So like your USDC, Benji, whatnot. And they can go and do whatever strategy they want with it. And so the first crop of operators in the cap system are all regulated financial firms. So think like IMC, Amber Group, and Susquehanna, all of them. So like these people do this for a living. And so we outsource yield to them instead of like us running it ourselves. And this can scale infinitely more than if it was just us as an internal team. Otherwise, if we could scale more, we'd just be a hedge fund.
Yeah,
we wouldn't be a stable coin. And so the operator, they go, they run their strategy, then they, pay back the allocation of capital. They give premium fees to the restaker, and all the capital they keep is no cost of capital. And something that Benjamin, the founder of Cap, is really like branded in my brain, especially when I interviewed him for Flywheel, was cost of capital, cost of capital, cost of capital. They're so sensitive to numbers. So any opportunity to get no cost of capital is huge because they're operators, their whole MO is to grow their book and to grow their AUM. And this is a way for them to grow their AUM without sacrificing anything. So they love it for that reason. Restakers love it because they have something to restake for that's worth restaking for because it's PMF. And users love it because they're, like I said, they're always protected because if anything ever happens, the restaker gets slashed and they're fully covered. And you have this, I call this infinite canvas of yield, where they're not just locked into one strategy, but you have different operators competing to beat their hurdle rate. And so users will, because the hurdle rate is like, it fluctuates and it keeps operators competitive, you're always getting the best yield. And so the thing with like these strategies is like, maybe some of them open up for 24 hours, maybe a week, maybe a month. And so this like allows the operators the flexibility to like go in and out. And a lot of different options of earning yield just aren't available on chain yet. So think like corporate bonds, think like private credit, think like insurance-backed securities. There's like a whole range of them that just aren't around. But this actually brings them on chain without actually bringing them on chain because the operators, they just like get the loan. They can like redeem the collateral, like whatever the collateral is, and do their strategy off chain as long as they just pay it back.
Okay. And like, is in the plan, that's super interesting, actually.
I got you. I nerd sniped you.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah, you need guys to do a bit more of amplification and marketing, and I explain this a bit more. Spend some money.
Yeah, I mean,
this is fucking interesting.
Yeah, you hear that? Yeah, no, we're staying like, a little bit. I wouldn't say we're staying quiet right now. Like we have released materials, but we want to show that the system works. We don't want to just,
I agree.
We don't want to just talk the talk.
No, yeah.
And so like once the system like works and goes.
This is the best way. Yeah, and you're like, still building and test a bit in the testing phase. And then you you explain by showing it, this is the best.
Yeah, and then combine like my storytelling with like the rest of the Cap team, like building the product, releasing it. Like once all these things align, it's just gonna be a rocket ship.
I agree. And is like in the plan to, I don't know, talk with institutions? Because I think this is something that is super interesting also.
What's unique about like the Cap value prop is it actually brings the institutions on chain. It brings them on chain to our court and on our terms. Yeah. They can't like go and like make their rules and stuff. Like, no, Cap is an immutable protocol. They're playing by our rules because it's in their interest to.
Did you already started this conversation or?
Yeah, so like we, our seed round was led by like Franklin Templeton and Triton, which used to be Kraken.
Okay, so you already
and all our investors are like literally just
connect.
TradFi, like
TradFi people.
TradFi people, like IMC.
So now we like TradFi.
Yeah, we like TradFi coming to our course.
Yeah, of course.
We had like Rockaway X2, a bunch of other ones.
I mean, we don't dislike TradFi.
No,
we like open-minded TradFi people.
Yeah, I became TradFi Dave for like 5 days. People were asking TradFi Dave to come back. I'm like, okay, he's back for Con. This is the TradFi Dave.
That's why you wear a shirt. Okay, so now let's change a bit topic, because since we are here and you're a kind of expert to me, I wanted to ask you two things. The first is, why do you think the dollar, because of course you say the peg should be something that is existent and we see, etc., which is the dollar. But why just the dollar is so powerful? For example, we don't have a stable coin peg to euro. We don't have we have stable coin peg to gold maybe, but it's not fancy, not used, not adopted. The dollar is where
the demand is.
But also euro, no?
There's no demand for the euro right now, unfortunately. I think there will be in the future. I bet you in like 5 years, you're going to see a lot more different currencies come on chain
this is something that
I think what will get us there is like actual like direction in consumer, like what you can do with like consumers and distribution. And so
you think now the dollar,
because right now like the dollar is like primarily used like on chain and off chain for trading. Like that's like yes, there's like a plethora of use cases from like remittances and savings and all that.
Everything.
But like mostly it's like used for a trading pair on like Binance and Coinbase and whatnot, which is fine, which is like the first use case for now. But in the future, you want to see that expand outside of just trading and being used for everything.
Exactly.
And I think things like the Genius Act would be huge. Yeah. It'd be instrumental. I think, like, I've been saying this for a while, the Genius Act will do to stablecoins what the Telecommunications Act of 1996 did for the internet. It gave set rules of what you can do and can't do. And then from there, like, you're able to create the Facebooks, the YouTubes, the Googles, and all that. I think the same things are just going to happen with stablecoins.
Let's hope, because 5 years ago or 5, someone told, for sure in 5 years we will see a stable coin peg to euro, and we are here.
Still waiting.
No, but okay. But then the second question is again about regulation, adoption, etc. Because I mean, if every country, let's say, has different regulation for the stable coins, what's the future? Because, you know, if they accept them in the US but not in Japan, now I'm telling you a random name, but we can see already now the difference between the different countries and how they are open to this kind of, you know, of technology. And
so there could definitely be a future where like each country has like their own regulation, but I could also see a future where once the Genius Act passes, like, if I'm a country and I'm looking for regulation for dollar stablecoins, I'm going to look at the Genius Act. I'm just going to copy the Genius Act. But yeah, you do make a good point. And I think that really brings the case, like, there'll probably be like hundreds of stablecoins out there, each with like a different set of rules, but they're all going to need liquidity. And think about it. These are all payment stablecoins. And these payment stablecoins are just one layer, and you're going to see a layer of yield-bearing stablecoins on top of this. And CAP is really leading the charge with the yield-bearing stablecoins, because as I said earlier, it's like all these could be used as collateral in CAP, in CUSD, and all of them could be redeemable, minted and redeemed with each other.
Yeah, good answer. Yeah, let's hope that there will be.
I'm an optimist.
Yeah, me too, always. But you never know, you know. Yeah. But yeah. So, anything you want to add, or?
I've been in stablecoins for like 4 or 5 years. I mean, but do I want to add anything else? DeFi's been so much fun the past 5 years. Yeah. I can't imagine being a part of anything else. I've really enjoyed just seeing everyone grow and develop as like builders, as like people, and people just kind of like learn from past protocols and adapt. and overcome, because there have been there's some really high highs, but also some really low lows.
Yeah.
And like you've been in it, so like you've seen it too.
Been in it.
It's amazing that we're both like
yeah,
sitting here doing this interview right now.
And that's cool, right?
Yeah,
right. Because
yeah.
we saw everything. But I have to tell you, last year I got very bored about DeFi, because I didn't feel anymore the big purpose of you know.
If I had to like give one message, it's like we need to, as an industry, whether it's like DeFi and crypto, is to look towards like new pastures that aren't grazed.
Exactly.
We can't just be like the same group of people.
Same liquidity, same target.
Yeah. We need to like do our best to step out of our comfort zone and be ambassadors for what DeFi can offer the rest of the world. And so that's something I'm really focusing on, especially being in New York, because that's like the center of TradFi. And I want to like talk to as many new people as possible, as many people, whether they're stablecoin curious, whether they even FUD stablecoins. I want to talk to all of them. I want to hear their perspective. And I want to listen. I want to grow. And that's the only way we grow.
Exactly. Otherwise, guys, we will stay always in our, field of ships, all doing all the same.
We'll just be in our own like little pond, but there's this entire ocean over here. I'm trying to get in the ocean.
But we need them. We need them, guys. Otherwise, we are not going anywhere.
But there is a balance of like, we don't want to completely sell out and sacrifice ourselves. Like, we should stand by our values, and protocols like CAP stand by crypto's values.
Yeah, exactly. We need to stand by. The mission is to create a new financial system, guys.
Yeah.
Inclusive, transparent, and not to like to a ghetto gang, a club, no? Okay.
Amen to that.
Yeah. So let's say it for the, you know what I mean. At my 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we say the word.
What word?
The word.
Stablecoins? Oh, okay, yeah.
So 1, 2, 3.
Stablecoins.